Good evening and welcome to Prime Business with me, Emma Davis. Let's look at our stories for tonight. Senior tax partner at Deloitte, George Ankoma, has advised government to develop revenue-enhancing measures and cut expenditure as alternatives to taxes. He further called on Parliament for the amendment of the tax laws. Mr. Ankoma was commenting on Dr. Mahmoud Bawumia's presentation of his vision if elected as the president in the December general elections.
Government needs revenue, yes, but then government should be looking at other means of raising revenue, and I think that we have enough practice already as an economy, and so there should rather be more revenue-enhancing measures that the government should be looking at, and also ways of cutting government expenditure, especially in this year being an election year. That's what government should be looking at, but not introduce taxes such as this. I would even say that organized labor should be looking at engaging government and in with Parliament to the extent of ensuring that this provision in our tax laws of charging VAT, which is beyond the lifeline VAT and levies applying on it, should completely be exempted. And so that provision for Parliament to consider amending the provisions in the tax law to eliminate or to exempt supply of electricity for domestic or for dwelling completely exempted, so that we do not get to this stage again. And I think it is the right call, even as the minister, the vice president has mentioned that in his administration he will scrap it, and I believe the other opposition government or opposition party has also mentioned that ex-president Mahama has also mentioned that he will scrap it. So that suggests that both parties think that this is not a tax that we should implement now, and so there should be that conversation for a possible withdrawal completely or possible exemption of entire usage of electricity for domestic use or for dwelling.
Meanwhile, the business community has welcomed the suspension of the 15% VAT on electricity consumption. According to the Greater Accra Regional Chairman of the Association of Ghana Industries, Chonam Akpelu, his outfit is willing and ready to engage government to ensure both members and consumers enjoy some relief.
You'd observe that the countries that develop with industrialization normally have a huge consuming public. So what it means is that the disposable income of citizens are crucial for industrial development. And so any effort to take away from disposable income of consumers provide a huge source of worry to industry. Because whilst we are producing and asking our citizens to buy what we produce, they need to have the money to purchase. And so if you are leaving them with VAT on electricity, it would naturally deprive them of their disposable income that they would have otherwise be using to buy the goods that we produce. So for us, the suspension is in order. Our view is that the government must really take steps to engage in intensive stakeholder engagement. If we study the history of AGI is always available to engage. We believe that solution lies in the minds of collective. And so we're happy to sit with government, which we do regularly. We're available anytime they engage us. We're happy to discuss and come to an amicable solution. But at this stage, in the tragedy of the history of the country, it is very difficult to consider any imposition of taxation in any form.
The Vice President, Dr. Mahmoud Bawumia, has stated that the gold reserves and gold for oil programs saved the country about $2.7 billion in reserves. The program was targeted at building reserves, reducing the pressure on the local currency, as well as supporting the import bill of essential commodities such as fuel. According to the Vice President, the purchase of about 45,000 tons of gold has been beneficial in the country's ability to build foreign exchange reserves.
To interest you to know that since this program started, the Bank of Ghana has purchased 26 tons of gold at $1.73 billion. The government of Ghana Gold for Oil program, which also started in late December 2022, has purchased 16 tons of gold at $1.06 billion that has been available for the import of petroleum products. Together, the gold for reserves and the gold for oil programs have unlocked $2.79 billion to meet external payments of the country in just over a year. These two policies have allowed us to build foreign exchange reserves and pay for critical imports like fuel, stabilize the exchange rate. It is important to note that the $2.7 billion that we have unlocked is almost equivalent to the $3 billion loan that we have obtained from the IMF, which is going to be disbursed over 3 years. What is clear to me is that if we had started implementing these policies, say 20 years ago, Ghana would be in a very different situation today.
Asantehene Otumfuo Osei Tutu II says no attempt to sideline or denigrate the Asante Kingdom will succeed. He says the kingdom has stood the test of time despite two unprovoked British-led wars in the olden days in an attempt to wipe out the kingdom. Welcoming the return of Asante artifacts looted 150 years ago by the British Army, the Asantehene said despite the animosity and schemes against the kingdom, it will endure. My colleague Ohiming Teria has been on the beat and has more in the following report.
Thursday's Durbar at the Menchia Palace was held under mixed feelings by Asante chiefs, led by the Asantehene Otumfuo Osei Tutu II, dubbed Kuntunkuni Thursday. Chiefs of Asanteman from all over Ghana wore black cloth in memory of the devastation the Sagranti War brought onto the Asante Kingdom. The British Army, led by Major General Garnet Worsley, staged an unprovoked attack on Asante, razed its capital Kumasi, and looted gold and ornaments. Over 4,000 soldiers of the dreaded Asante army were killed, including its warlord, Bantmahine Bafo Amankwetia, and several other prominent chiefs. Over 4,000 soldiers of the dreaded Asante army were killed, including its warlord, Bantmahine Bafo Amankwetia, and several other prominent Asante chiefs. Sounds of gunfire and firing of musketry hovered over the Menchia Palace as Asante chiefs marked the anniversary of the war. It also marked the return of 7 artifacts returned from the Fowler Museum at the University of California in the United States. Asantehene Otumfuo Osei Tutu II, who officially received the artifacts, called for unity as he spoke about failed attempts to destroy the Asante Kingdom.
We yet then would me as anti free Ghana say muda. I'm on your foe, I saw foe, why would me as anti free muda? No cast over years and tear from what the tie bataille, a baby falso. Nunti mummy yina mummy and fat dog and cambom nienta. Yani a child and pop body tears and to my yanya nay ye. Yan ya de Johnny and cambom natia. Me nana no we zongo nyina me nana me no mo tia fefefe. Anwura fo me ne na tia ma me ba bi tia fe na anwuraga. Enzima fo me ne na tia enzima hene beta traditional council. Emfantifo ehine wa ha wotimu bi. Na dia bone ni aye. Edo ben ye nche. Ko ba bi so obenya Ashanti tan wo ho a. Na denti ni ye kire do we na so mo de tan ehia ye. Momie nyina nya ba ko ni emfa mu aga na man. Amanyokuo no nyina hu se Asante ni mu a enye yie. Di ye nyina ra enei me de hyemu krama mu nyina ma hu se Asante ma date ase.
According to the Asantehene, the independent Asante existed several years before the emergence of Ghana. He noted the contribution of Asante, especially in Ghanaian politics, is unmatched and cannot be sidelined in all spheres.
Emre yeninka so enti momi emfa akoma pa ne do entama bibia.
Moving on, Kempinski Gold Coast Hotel has opened up the European concept sustainability-focused cafe and bakery to walk-in customers and residents of the prestigious hotel. Known as the Cafe George and Bakery, the initiative follows feedback from overwhelming consumers who yearn for more hospitable services beyond the regular restaurant and bar environment. Yes, ma'am.
The focus for Cafe George and Bakery is to continuously enhance the overall culinary experience while improving its sustainability efforts and contributions to SDG 12. This commitment aligns with Kempinski Gold Coast Hotel's broader initiative to contribute positively to the environment. Restaurant manager for Kempinski, Florencia Arias, in an interview with journalists, underscored the need to take positive feedback from customers and make conscious efforts to improve their services and add more value.
The idea about a setup Cafe George came out like we have plenty guest feedback about they want to truly experience the fresh bakery, and instead of doing in Papillon, we said like, okay, why we don't open a new one so they can as well enjoy this one and feel part of the Kempinski as well. The difference is like here, like even if you're not our guest, you can completely walk in or take away to your home on your way back home.
According to Director of Sales and Marketing at Kempinski, Melissa Bediakon, the hotel is poised to offer improved services and enhance its partnership with other private sector businesses to support initiatives geared towards growing the economy and helping society.
I think for this year we'll focus a lot on our F&B in updating and upgrading our offerings and bringing new exciting offerings, just like you see here at Cafe George. I think we're definitely going to do more collaborations. I think last year you would have seen probably in some of the, in the press, some of our outreach programs. So we had our Smiles at Kempinski where we did a lot of work with the autism community. And then we did something for the street children over Christmas. So we had an exciting street children Christmas party.
Cafe George and Bakery aligns with the goal of responsible consumption and production.
Springs and Boats Company Limited, a fully Ghanaian-owned enterprise, is attracting a strategic partnership with British International Investment to expand its operation. The company is one of 2 companies in West Africa locally manufacturing truck parts, including U-boats, leaf springs, and axles for export. There is more in the following report.
Springs and Boats Company operates in the Kase Industrial Enclave, manufacturing U-boats, leaf springs and axles for export to the West African market, especially Niger. In 2018, the company received support from the government under the One District, One Factory program to help improve on its production and capacity. But the business is currently looking for strategic partners in international investment for expansion. The British High Commissioner to Ghana, Harriet Thompson, paid a working visit to the company in line with an interest to attract British international investors. Chief Executive Officer of the company, Derek Asamoah Boyne, says the strategic partnership will position the Springs and Boats brand to take advantage of the African continental free trade market.
Since 2020, we had an engagement with the High Commissioner in London, and since then there has been high level of engagement, emails, and then they also introduced us to BII, who is helping us with the investment bit of our job. So the current partnership is looking to expand our operations because now we are operating a manual plant. So the investment is probably going to help us move into an automated machinery, and then we can also take high orders or do mass production and supply into the West Africa sub-region and the AFTA as a whole.
The CEO says the expected partnership has inherent employment opportunities and value addition to the automobile industry.
In terms of employment, currently we are employing 30 people at the moment, and in expanding we hope to employ about 50 people in the first 6 months of our operations. We are looking to, manufacture locally automotive components to feed into the OEMs that are already established in Ghana, and this is a form of import substitution, and it's going to reduce the pressure on importing vehicle parts and auto components into the market.
Meanwhile, Springs and Boats Company has acquired a 25-acre land as part of its expansion plan, which includes the production of boats and nuts. For Joe News, Nana Boache Dankwa Yadom, Kumasi.
In Accra, I am Emma Davis. Moving on, the After Young Entrepreneurs Federation has launched the maiden edition of the Trade Queen Africa, aimed at promoting intra-African trade. According to the president of the federation, Sita Hisan, the Trade Queen Africa pageant will help create awareness and build women-led businesses under the area.
The Trade Queen Africa pageant is geared towards improving trade activities between participating countries to improve their individual economies. Participants are required to have entrepreneurial skills and also have plans of starting their own ventures. In an interview, President of the AFCFTA Young Entrepreneurs Federation, Sita Sofo Hassan, said the pageant will empower women-led businesses in Africa.
And we believe that through entrepreneurship that they can get jobs.
So, Forum Adeline Beidou called on qualified women to participate in order to promote trade activities on the continent.
Designed to empower young entrepreneurs, celebrate African culture, and promote intra-African trade. Now, what is Mistrack? Mistrack serves as a platform dedicated to showcasing talents, raising awareness, empowering African youths, and revealing all the opportunities within the African trade area. And this competition begins with the active participation of all African nations and the blacks in the diaspora.
The winner will be awarded a cash prize, a certificate, a car, and a crown.
Let's stay a little longer with businesses, as Ghanaian businesses have been urged to be heavy on bookkeeping and other forms of record keeping in their businesses to attract more foreign investors. According to Director of Fortwell Solicitors, a London-based law firm, Daniel Coy said lack of proper record keeping, especially financial records, sale of goods and stock taking, among others, can be disadvantageous to the growth and sustainability of the operations. Here's more.
Well, this is a visa scheme that allows individuals and businesses to be able to tap into the UK market, to bring their products into the UK market. So when we talk about global mobility visas, especially the UK expansion visa, this is what is designed for any business entity who is looking to set up in the UK market. So if you have a company like Multimedia, they want to set up an FM station for in London, this is the type of visa we'll be going for to get to some of the workers to come to the UK to come and set it up. So if you have a bank, you have a fintech organization, you have a real estate, you have a restaurant, whatever the nature of business that you've got, so long as you've been trading within the Ghanaian or international market for more than 3 years and you are looking to expand into the UK market, then this is the type of visa we will be preparing or assisting you with, so that you can get some of your workers or somebody that you trust or you yourself to be able to come to the UK with your family. It allows us to bring about 5 workers and their family members to come to the UK to help you to establish that business. And this is what the UK government is doing, because of course they have left the EU, as we are aware. They are looking to tap into different markets, and the Commonwealth market is one of the biggest areas that they are looking at currently.
Does the AFCFTA play a role in all of this? And if yes, what exactly is the role?
It does, in a sense that you realize that when you are into some of these things, there are companies who want to expand out there, and they have been, before they expand to the European market or to the UK market, they have tried their hands in expanding to countries such as Uganda and other African countries. So once you have been able to master the skill of expanding to other African countries, you will be able to replicate that to the UK market as well, even though the dynamics might be a little bit different. So basically, we have a situation where people have the misconception that these visa schemes are for the multinational companies or for the big organizations. So if the little shop owner somewhere who is trading in tiles, or who is got a little restaurant somewhere with maybe 2 or 3 workers, this is not for them. But that is a misconception. When we look at the eligibility criteria for some of these visa schemes, you realize that it is open for a wide range of business owners. Sometimes the difficulty we have with the Ghanaian business owners is record keeping. They don't have enough record keeping. They don't do their taxes. They don't file those. They don't do their accountant doing the record keeping for them. So when it comes to these things, then it becomes difficult. So what advice we give to them is that if you are looking to expand into some of these markets, these people are looking at your books. How well have you been running for the past 3 years? If you've got your record keeping very well, then we are open for you.
That'll be all for tonight's edition of Prime Business with me, Emma Davis. For more business news, do log on to myjoyonline.com. Up next, it's Prime Sports with Razak Musbah. But I leave you with international business. Have a good evening.